Welcome to Presentation Ponder Practice. Hebrews chapter 9 verses 1 through 7 reminds or informs the reader about the earthly sanctuary, the tabernacle or the tent, which existed under the old covenant. There were rules and regulations which had to be followed in the divine worship in that sanctuary. Specific objects and specific overseers were a part of God's design for worship then. However, the earthly sanctuary had a fatal weakness which the writer of Hebrews addresses. Reading verses 8 through 9a, the Holy Spirit signifies this, that the way into the holy places has not yet been disclosed while the outer tabernacle is still standing, which is a symbol for the present time. Signifying is a term meaning make clear or reveal. The Holy Spirit gives an example to clarify the restrictions on entering into the most holy place, which is in heaven. As long as the old tent or sanctuary remained in use, the way into the real or heavenly sanctuary had not yet been opened. All that the Old Testament says about worship under the Old Covenant is proof that something better, something more effective was needed. The tent is a symbol which points to the present time. Accordingly, verse 9, both gifts and sacrifices using animals are offered which cannot make the worshiper perfect in conscience, since, verse 10, the gifts and sacrifices, relate only to food and drink and various washings, regulations for the body, imposed until a time of reformation. No animal sacrifice could cause a worshiper to be or become complete or finished in conscience. The function of the conscience is to cause pain when one has done wrong. Sin disrupts proper functioning of the conscience. The Old Testament sacrifices could not make one's conscience right again. The Old Covenant regulated what could or could not be eaten or drunk. Baptisms or the washings were for purification's sake. They were regulations for the body, not for the soul. Until the time of Reformation, a making straight, God would reform and reconstruct worship for a new covenant in a world much different from the old covenant world. The new covenant grants access to the very presence of God. The old covenant had a veiled access to God that serves as an example for us in understanding worship under the new covenant. The tabernacle of old was a symbolic copy of the heavenly sanctuary. When the temple replaced the tabernacle, the symbol remained because they were shadows of the real. At Christ's death on the cross, the veil of the temple was torn, showing that more direct access was now available. The Spirit revealed the message to Moses along with the law, and the same Spirit revealed the meaning of the shadow to what is the real, the heavenly. The old covenant did not direct a person to God the true way. The new covenant directs a person to the true entrance of God's presence, the Holy of Holies in heaven. Christ, the high priest, entered the veil and has obtained redemption for us. Worshippers under the old covenant could not receive a perfect conscience. Obedience to Christ in baptism, 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 21, is the way to salvation, purification, and access to God under the new covenant. Washings of the old covenant were for the body. The soul is now cleansed by baptism. The tabernacle, The veil or the curtains, the washings, and the high priest duties were shadows that pointed to something new as the Holy Spirit explains it. Use of the tabernacle had many regulations which the Holy Spirit used to illustrate the fatal weakness of the earthly sanctuary. The sacrifices of the old covenant could not cleanse the hearts of the people. Obey God according to the new covenant. Worship God according to the new covenant. Meanwhile, may the God of heaven bless you.